Okay, so good afternoon, good morning, good evening, Honourable Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Vincent Johnson, and I'm the Interim Cogent Coordinator. Cogent is the International Coconut Genetic Resources Network, which is one of the programs now within ICC. I'm acting as a meeting moderator to make sure that the meeting goes smoothly and we keep to time. So first of all, could you please mute your microphone if you're not speaking?
Okay.
Could you please mute your microphone if you're not speaking? I'm getting some interference.
We can't hear him.
I can't carry on if somebody's speaking over me. I think please mute your microphones. So, right, I'm going to start again. There was some noise from somebody's microphone. Please can you mute yourselves when you're not speaking so that it doesn't interfere with the proceedings. So on behalf of the International Coconut Community, I would like to welcome all the delegates from the Non-Aligned Movement Centre for South-South Technical Cooperation to this online training program for the processing and marketing of Nata de Coco. You should already have seen the program schedule. The training we're aiming will last 2 hours. Please make sure, as I said, that your microphones are muted unless you have something important to say. We've reserved discussion space at the end of the meeting. So if possible, please reserve your comments and questions until then. In the interests of time, also, it's better if you type your comments into the chat box so that we can capture the questions and comments. And if you want to speak, there's a facility where you can raise your virtual hand. There's a little button that you can click on saying raise hand. I would just like to remind everybody of the meeting objectives. Obviously, in this COVID-19 pandemic time, we're uppermost in our minds is the health of our friends and family across the world, and how coconut can help with that, and also the productivity issues that the industry faces. So the main objectives of the training are for training farmers to produce high quality income products, for promoting the positive influence of coconut products, and finally for promoting the collaboration between coconut industry stakeholders. During the training, there are 2 video presentations, and then we're going to have some following next, and then we're going to have the opening remarks from His Excellency, the Ambassador Roni Praseto Julian Toro, the Director of the Non-Aligned Movement Centre for South-South Technical Cooperation. After that, there'll be 2 presentations and a video demonstration, and we'll end with a discussion. So I'd like now to invite Alit Pirmansar, the Market and Statistics Officer for the International Coconut Community, to set in motion the first video presentation on ICC's profile. Thank you, Alit, and welcome everybody.
Coconut is an important commodity for many countries in the world. Over 400 million farmers in the world rely on coconut products as their main source of livelihood and income. Total coconut farm area reached 12 million hectares, with production reaching 69 million nuts per year. This equals to 11.6 million tons of copra. Still, many farmers remain in unfavorable condition due to various factors including low productivity, old and senile plantations, lack of direct access to markets, limited financial assistance, and losses due to pests, diseases, natural calamities and climate changes. It is in the context of addressing these problems that the International Coconut Community or ICC came to its existence. The ICC is organized under the aegis of the United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific or UNESCAP. The ICC Secretariat is located in Jakarta and is headed by Executive Director. ICC has a vision to improve socio-economic welfare of farmers and other industry stakeholders in a vibrant coconut sector. The ICC was established in the 2nd of September 1969, and initially founded under the name of Asian and Pacific Coconut Community or APCC by 6 coconut-producing countries, namely India, Indonesia, Philippines, Sri Lanka, Malaysia and Thailand during a ministerial meeting in Sri Lanka in 1969. Mr. Godofredo P. Reyes Jr. from Philippines is the first APCC Executive Director. After Mr. Reyes, several personalities have taken the command of APCC as Executive Director, and they are Dr. P.G. Puchihewa, Mr. Norberto M. Bocita, Dr. P. Rethanam, Mr. Romulo N. Arancan Jr., Mr. Yuran N. Salam, and the present Executive Director is Dr. Jelfina Sia Lo, the First Lady from the host country of Indonesia.
Due to the increasing members, APCC's status was upgraded into a global organization under the name of International Coconut Community or ICC. The status of upgrade was made during APCC 53rd Session Ministerial in Tarawa, Kiribati on 24 October 2017.
Full members of the community were made up of 16 countries. In 2020, we have 20 full members. The Secretariat has that very important role to become the medium for communication, communicating new knowledge, new technology, and be able to enable the sharing of the experiences from the more advanced countries with those less advanced, the more productive countries to the ones less productive.
The official declaration of the global status and the name was notified by UN Secretariat during March 2018. Official launching of ICC happened during 55th session and the ministerial meeting at Manila, Philippines on 28 August 2019. Currently ICC has 20 members include 8 Asian countries: India, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Sri Lanka, Thailand, Vietnam and Timor-Leste, 9 Pacific countries, Federated States of Micronesia, Fiji, Kiribati, Marshall Islands, Papua New Guinea, Samoa, Solomon Islands, Tonga and Vanuatu, 1 Caribbean country, Jamaica, 1 African country, Kenya, and 1 country in South America, Guyana.
The ICC has the main roles to assist member countries to increase productivity through conventional and non-conventional techniques.
The ICC also aims to encourage the development of prospective products such as virgin coconut oil or VCO, coconut flour, coconut sugar and coconut waters, in which their demand has been increasing in recent years. There are so many advantages from consuming the coconut products, and each product has its own benefit. For example, VCO is good for lower plasma cholesterol, for antioxidant, for hair and skin care, and also good for wound healing. Coconut sugar could relieve the symptoms of diabetic neuropathy. Coconut milk provides a number of anti-aging benefits for the hair and skin. Coconut water is good for rehydration. Coconut flour could lower blood sugar and cholesterol. The activated carbon is good for remove toxins or chemicals post-ingestion. To achieve its objectives, the ICC organizes various programs which are approved and finalizes during the ICC session and ministerial. The ministerial meeting is held annually to discuss and take decisions on programs to be undertaken by the community. So far 55 sessions have been held by the community, with the latest one being held in Manila in 2019. ICC's main programs include Cocotech Conference. It is the largest international conference dedicated solely on coconut development. The conference discusses current technical coconut development issues to find the best solution for all coconut stakeholders. So far 48 Cocotech conferences have been held by the community, with the latest one being held in Bangkok, Thailand in 2018. The Cocotech conference is best place for producers and buyers to do a business matching. The Cocotech conference is also a forum for researchers, processors, traders and policy makers to meet and exchange information. Training, workshop, seminar and symposium aimed improving the capacity, skill and knowledge of officers and farmers of the member countries. To disseminate information on coconut sector in member countries, ICC produces a number of publications which include website. ICC website presents information on various aspects of coconut, from cultivation, processing and marketing. It also presents price update of various coconut products such as coconut oil, copra, desiccated coconut, water, milk and other products. Beside the website, the ICC also published printed and digital version of publications such as Cocommunity, a monthly newsletter, CocoInfo International, a semi-annual non-technical magazine, and CORD Journal, a scientific journal on coconut. The ICC has launched a website designated specifically for CORD Journal, which has become a peer-reviewed journal and has been indexed in several indexing agencies. ICC's other publications include Coconut Statistics Yearbook and Market Directory of Coconut Exporters and Traders. A digital library has been developed to enable people access to a large amount of information wherever they are and whenever they need. To increase its role in developing coconut industry, the ICC has established cooperation with some international agencies for research and development, capacity building, technology transfer, seminar, and webinar. From January 2020, Coconut Genetic Resources Network or COGENT has become a major program of the ICC. COGENT is involved in the collection, conservation and analysis of coconut germplasm. The inclusion of COGENT's program within ICC is expected to strengthen ICC's role in revival of coconut industry.
Hello, my name's Vincent Johnson and I coordinate the International Coconut Genetic Resources Network within the international coconut community. The network has the mandate for supporting the conservation and use of coconut genetic resources across the world, linked to 5 international gene banks and 19 national collections under a network of 39 country partners.
The establishment of ICC also initiated the World Coconut Day, which is celebrated in every coconut-producing country. The World Coconut Day celebrations are carried out in the form of festivals, seminars, and others form of celebration. This event is observed to highlight the importance and uses of coconuts.
2nd September is celebrated as the World Coconut Day to mark the establishment of the international coconut community. So the global market demand for coconut products is increasing. So synergies between coconut stakeholders is needed to increase production and to meet these growing demands. Such collaborations is also required to support value additions, processing and marketing of high-value coconut products, as well as to counter any adverse publicity against coconut and its product.
Challenges still lay ahead, but with hard work and strong cooperation and collaboration amongst the stakeholders, researchers and the farmers, the coconut sector can uplift from sunset to a sunrise industry.
Thank you very much for that. We're going to move, first of all, I would like to say a few words for the latecomers, the people who've just arrived since the start of the meeting. There are now 106 delegates online. When you're not speaking, could you please mute your microphones? And also just to say that we will have a discussion at the end. So reserve your comments and questions until that session at the end. You can always type something into the chat if you have a burning question. Now we're going to move directly on to a short video presentation from the non-aligned movement called Accelerating the Equitable Development of the South. Thank you very much, Ali. Well, that's a very short and dynamic impression of the network. So without any further ado, we're going to directly move on to an opening welcome speech from the Executive Director of the International Coconut Community, Dr. Jelfina Alau, who I imagine is well known to most of you. She took up the position as Executive Director from January this year, and is an eminent entomologist, amongst other things, working within the Indonesian agricultural research and governmental networks. Thank you. Over to you, Jelfina.
Thank you so much, Vincent. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all. His Excellency Ambassador Roni Prasetyo Yuliantoro, the Director of NAM Center, His Excellency Ambassador Diar Nurbiantoro, Honorable National Liaison Officers and the alternate of NLO, participants from the ICC and NAM Center member countries, invited resource speakers, Mr. Jerry Wongkana from Indonesian Palm Crops Research Institute, Indonesian Agency for Agricultural Research and Development, and Mr. Martin Jimmy, the Director PT Kara Santan Pertama. Farmers, coconut industry, and other coconut community stakeholders, ladies and gentlemen. I'm pleased and delighted to welcome you all for the first online training organized by ICC in collaboration with the NAM Center on the processing and marketing of Nata de Coco, and as part of the series of online trainings and webinars under the theme Stay Healthy and Productive During COVID-19. A number of topics requested by our member countries, including coconut sugar processing and marketing, good agricultural practices, and integrated pest management, as well as sustainable coconut development strategies, will be presented monthly through the Zoom platform. So I'd like to inform you also that ICC is going to help the third international coconut training course for coconut development officer in collaboration with the Coconut Research Institute in Sri Lanka. However, this international training course has to be postponed next year due to the global travel restriction as a result of COVID-19 pandemic. So His Excellency Ambassador, ladies and gentlemen, as we all know that the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic made all of us meet remotely across the globe due to restrictions on travel and maintaining social distancing. But this also one of the different experiences for all of us to unite for the sustainable development of the coconut sector. And this program was initiated by ICC in association with NAM Center under the mutual agreement to express the willingness to engage in promoting the positive attributes of coconut products and relevant activities, including the research and development and technology transfer, as well as to develop and expand relationship with the coconut growing countries. So in the first phase of the implementation of the Memorandum of Understanding and Agreement, this online training on processing and marketing of Nata de Coco is organized today. So as you may all know, the coconut is a major cash crop cultivated in all major countries around the globe. The changed food habits realized that diversification of coconut-derived products and value addition help the coconut growers in getting remunerative prices. It helps the small and marginal farmers who depend on coconut for their livelihood to realize better returns. And Nata de Coco is one of the value-added products made from coconut water and gaining importance amongst the consumers. It was actually originally made in the Philippines. And Nata de Coco is a healthy food that is rich in fiber, including cellulose, hemicellulose, lignin, and water-soluble fiber. Consumer acceptance is relatively high due to its health benefits. And some reports mention that carboxymethyl nata for fruit coating and hydrogel composite for drug delivery systems have shown the potential of this inexpensive resource. So world coconut production in 2019 was about 12 million metric ton copra equivalent. The considerable volume of coconut water left unutilized during copra, coconut oil, or DC processing, of which only 10% is used for different value-added products from water. So approximately 2.5 million liters of water are produced per hectare globally, which can be very well utilized by processing the value-added products like Nata de Coco. So this product can very well processed by the small and marginal farmers of rural areas without much investment. The raw materials are mainly coconut water, will be easily collected from the copra manufacturers. So today we have two experienced speakers for the training who focus on the processing and marketing aspects of Nata de Coco. So the processing method will be explained through both PowerPoint presentation and video and then discussion. So the video will be shared to all member countries so that they can access anywhere on the train, at work, or home. So at any time. And so this gives participants more control and flexibility. I hope our participants will be benefited from this training. You can gain and absorb pertinent information from the resource speakers and come forward to set up small units of Nata de Coco in your areas, a source of nutritious food for your family, and sell them as a source of income. Lastly, once again, I welcome you all for this online training and wish you all the very best. Take care and stay safe and healthy. Thank you. Over to you, please.
Thank you very much, Jelfina, for that introduction. We all know that the importance of value addition in terms of livelihoods for coconut producers and processors across the world. So I hope that this training will be useful for improving value addition and livelihoods in the months and years to come. I would now like to welcome His Excellency, the Ambassador Ronnie Prasiteo Juliantoro, excuse my pronunciation, the Director of the Non-Aligned Movement of the Center for South-South Technical Cooperation, to provide some opening remarks. Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Thank you, Vincent. Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Ronnie Yuliantoro, and I'm the Director of the Non-Aligned Movement Center for South-South Technical Cooperation. Dr. Jelfina Aldo, International Coconut Community or ICC Executive Director, Mr. Vincent Johnson, Interim Coconut Genetic Resources for Enhanced Livelihood Coordinators, Mr. Martin Jimmy Santangara Pertama, Director Pulau Sambu Group, Mr. Jerry Wungkana, researchers at the Indonesian Palm Crops Research Institute, Ministry of Agriculture of Indonesia, Ambassador Diar Nurbintoro, Executive Secretary for the Non-Aligned Movement Center for Social Technical Cooperation, distinguished participants in online training on processing and marketing of Nata de Coco, ladies and gentlemen. So on behalf of the Non-Aligned Movement Center for Technical Cooperation, or we call it the NAM Center, and of course on my own behalf, I'm very, very pleased to welcome you to this online training on processing and marketing of Nata de Coco. In particular, I would like to welcome the presence of the ICC Executive Director, Dr. Jelvina Allo, the co-organizer for implementing the NAM Center ICC online training and webinar series under the theme of Stay Healthy and Productive During COVID-19 Pandemic, Mr. Vincent Johnson, and of course, the highly respected trainers of this program. First, let me introduce the organization which I represent now. The NAM Center is the Center for Action and Resource Pooling, as well as a platform for dialogue. Our primary objective is to strengthen capacity building to achieve the development goals of NAM member countries in achieving sustainable human development and in enabling them to participate more efficiently and equally in the process of globalization. Our programs and activities are aimed primarily at promoting the exchange of resources, skills, and experience between NAM member countries. This year, the NAM Center has committed to support the work of ICC and our member countries engaged in coconut production to ensure complete dissemination of knowledge of coconut community value-added generation to all developing countries. Honorable Executive Director, Moderator, distinguished trainers and participants, ladies and gentlemen, in this regard, let me reiterate the importance that ICC and participants attach to implementing the final document of NAM's 18th Summit in Baku, Azerbaijan in 2019. The NAM Center is pleased that the heads of states and governments of NAM member countries acknowledge the NAM Center's positive contribution to the efforts to coordinate trainings, programs, and further enhance NAM member countries' capacity to achieve internationally accepted development goals, including the Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs. We also appreciate the honor of continuing to collaborate with development partners to provide training and capacity building programs to developing countries. We recognize the importance of working closely with ICC, which is one of the partners and main players to achieve the SDGs to the full. It is important to remember that food and agriculture is at the very center of the SDG agenda, ranging from reducing poverty and hunger to reacting to climate change and maintaining our natural resources. While we all have a key role to play in promoting the implementation of the agenda, it is also important to remember that in both NAM Center and ICC member countries, the primary responsibility for its implementation lies with the people. That is why I'm also pleased to note that online training on processing and marketing of Nata de Coco convened by NAM Center and ICC is a forum in which coconut growers, extension officers, and researchers from our member countries make up the majority, representing the African, Asian, Latin American, Caribbean, and Pacific regions. I hope you, as a representative, will brief your government and neighboring countries on the outcomes of the training today. Your priorities today include providing information and tools on the development of Nata de Coco, urging farmers to increase Nata de Coco production, learning the know-how to generate high-quality Nata de Coco, encouraging benefit of Nata de Coco, working with stakeholders in the Nata de Coco industry. In this respect, during the training session, I look forward to your successful learning processes and deliberations. As the NAM Center's director, in October, I will duly report these activities to the NAM Coordinating Bureau in New York, United States. During events such as this critical training, the learning process and discussion will contribute significantly to the identifying the positive contribution of the NAM Center to achieving the SDGs. So I wish you every success in your discussion over next 2 hours and look forward to the results of your training. Thank you for your attention. Danyafa, asante sana, gracias, terima kasih.
Terima kasih, Ambassador, Your Excellency. So now we're going to start the training proper. And the first presentation is going to be delivered by Jerry Wongana, who's a researcher at the Balit Palmai, the Indonesian Palm Crops Research Institute. He has a background in food technology linked to particularly palm crops. So without further ado, I would like to invite Jerry to step forward virtually and present us the processing of Nata de Coco. Thank you very much. And whilst the video is being put in motion, or not the video,
okay.
There we are, it's ready. Thank you very much.
Should I start with the presentation, or do you want? Okay.
Yes, no, you may start. Thank you.
Okay, sorry. Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for participating this webinar. And today I'm going to give an online training about Nata de Coco. And my name is Jerry Wongana, and I work for Indonesian Palm Crops Research Institute. And I have a master's degree in food technology from Wageningen University, and my specialization is in food physics. And this is my working email. So if you have any questions regarding food, maybe you can send your questions to my email. This is the content of my presentation. For a short introduction, as you may already know, the main and the most valuable product from coconut is its oil. While some other products that can be derived from coconut are also have a good economic value, such as coconut milk, desiccated coconut, coconut water, and coconut sugar, and nata de coco. And for today, we are only focusing on
Jerry, could I ask you to stop there a minute?
Okay.
Please, can delegates perhaps Alit, everybody, mute everybody and then unmute the presenter. Okay. We can still hear somebody. Could you please mute your microphones if you're not presenting, because it's interfering with the presentation. Thank you very much. And you may proceed again, Jerry. Thank you.
Okay. So I'm going to continue again. What is Nata de Coco? The terminology of Nata de Coco means floating. It's came from Spanish, and because nata always floats on the water surface, but in food science we usually call it bacterial cellulose in gel form. And indeed, because nata consists of water and pure cellulose without any hemicellulose nor lignin. This property. Okay. This property distinguishes nata from plant cellulose, because in plant cellulose they usually contain hemicellulose and lignin. And nata is also known with its high crystallinity, high water absorption, high mechanical strength, and all these properties make nata a delicious gel, especially when you put it in beverage products such as cocktail, dessert, and syrup. Not only about the taste, Nata de Coco is also known as a fiber source, because in our intestine, the bacteria cannot synthesize the cellulose. So basically, the cellulose give some bulk properties for the in our stomach, and give more satiety for us. And in this part, I'm gonna show you. Continue again. In this part, I'm gonna show you a traditional static method of Nata de Coco production. First of all, we need to filtrate and sterilize the coconut water. After we cool it down a little bit, we can start to prepare the nata starter, sugar, ammonium sulfate, and citric acid. And then we can put them into the coconut water and mix it gently. Then we can pour it into a cubic mold, and then cover it with a thin cloth. Leave it for about 15 to 20 days. And after this period, usually the nata will grow on the surface, and then we can start the harvesting. We need to wash and boil the nata first. And don't forget to take the excess solution from the nata, because we need it for the next production of Nata de Coco. And then we can cut the nata into cubical shapes. And this is the basic recipe for making Nata de Coco. I took it from First Urine papers. I think this recipe is more or less the same with the recipes that have been used in industry, except maybe the sugar content, because usually in industry they use about 5% sugar content for making the Nata de Coco. You might think to increase the production of Nata de Coco by increasing the sugar level, but unfortunately it won't work like that, because it was found by Embuscado that above 5% of sugar level, the efficiency will not increase at all. So think you need to consider this fact. And to optimize the production, there are at least two factors that we need to take into consideration. First, the strain of the bacteria. It's more related with the strain type and the purity of the starter. And usually if we use a low purity of starter, the production will be lower than the starter that has high purity. The second factor is the fermentation condition. For example, medium composition, temperature, and pH. Most of the studies on this product work on the medium composition, while room temperature and pH level at around 3 to 5 are widely accepted as a preferable condition. And in order to modify those factors, I'm going to take you to understand a little bit more about Acetobacter. As you can see on the right side of the screen, this is a picture of the bacteria while it is synthesized in the cellulose. And so Acetobacter selinum is an aerobic bacteria. So basically it needs oxygen to grow. So if there's no oxygen, you will probably you cannot get a good production of Nata de Coco. So the substrate for the bacteria can be classified as first carbon source, nitrogen source, and other nutrients. While for the product synthesis are cellulose and gluconic acid. You might be asking about the role of coconut water in Nata de Coco production. To answer that, you must know the composition of coconut water first. This is the composition of mature coconut water. So based on this composition, we can see that basically coconut water can provide all nutrients for the process. However, it's still not enough for producing nata. And that is the reason why we add some ingredients as the carbon source, nitrogen source, and other nutrients. For the carbon source, sucrose is mainly used, while other ingredients is fructose, glucose, ethanol, and glycerol. For the nitrogen source, ammonium sulfate is quite common, and because it's cheap, because if you use peptone or yeast extract, it's expensive. And we can also use the MSG as the nitrogen source, and some studies are also focusing on adding minerals and vitamins to increase the production. And now I'm gonna explain how the product of the synthesis can affect the growth of the bacteria. First, the cellulose. As the nata reach full coverage of on the surface of the solution, basically it inhibit the oxygen for the bacteria to grow. So therefore, the synthesis will be less optimum. And how about the gluconic acid? Basically, gluconic acid can decrease the pH. Therefore, the synthesis will be also disturbed. In this slide, I'm going to explain a simple method of isolating the bacteria to make a nata starter. First, you need to prepare the pineapple peels and mix it with sugar, water, glacial acid, magnesium sulfate, monopotassium phosphate, and ammonium sulfate using a blender, and then incubate this solution in a sterile glass container for 2 to 3 weeks, and filtrate the solution before you can use the nata starter for nata production. And this is a diagram that depicts some application of Nata de Coco in food and non-food products. I think you can read this later because this material will be shared with all of you. This is an example of interesting product that is made from Nata de Coco. And it is a facial mask, and it promotes its natural materials. So I think it's quite promising to make this one. Now we discuss about the value chain of Nata de Coco. I took an example from Vietnam. So in Vietnam, there are 3 parties that involved in Nata de Coco production. First, the raw nata producer, who only produce nata sheets. The second party is the nata refiner. They clean, slice, and pack and sell the nata to international markets and mostly East Asian countries. And the third party is local food and beverage products. And the market share in Vietnam is mostly for international market, while only around 10% of the production is for domestic market. And from this, we can learn that Nata de Coco has an important role for the economy. I think it's still promising doing a business in Nata de Coco. I think about this, the value chain of Nata de Coco will be explained better by Mr. Martin, that will present his presentation after this. And thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you very much for that, and apologies for the extraneous call to prayer amongst other noises that may have distracted you. We'll sort that out later. Now I would like to invite Alit, my colleague in ICC, to provide us with a video demonstration on the processing of Nata de Coco. Thank you very much, Alit.
Coconut has been labeled as the most useful plant due to its multifarious uses. As well as coconut meat, coconut water can also be consumed. Approximately, it gives 25% of weight to the total weight of the coconut fruit. Coconut water itself is rich in useful nutrients, and can be used to make various products. Tender coconut water can be directly consumed, while mature coconut water still lacks utilization. One of the most promising uses of mature coconut water is as an important ingredient in Nata de Coco production. Nata de Coco is a bacterial cellulose that is produced by Acetobacter xylinum bacteria. The procedure of Nata de Coco production is started with filtrating the coconut water using clean sieve cloth. Next, add 20 grains of sugar or 2% from 1 liter of coconut water. Adjust the pH to reach pH 4 using acetic acid. Let it cool down for about 3 to 4 hours. Then, pour the solution into sterilized plastic mold, and add the Acetobacter xylinum starter. Cover the mold using a clean aluminum foil or used newspaper. Let fermentation do its job for about 7 to 10 days at 27 to 30 centigrade degrees. After that, harvest the nata. Wash it several times with flowing clean water. And soak it in clean water for 3 days. Cut the nata into cubical shapes. The last step of the procedure, boil them for 5 times to eliminate the sour taste. In the 5th repetition, add enough sugar into the boiled water. Finally, Nata de Coco is ready to be packaged. About 800 to 900 grams of nata can be produced from 1 liter of coconut water. Let's increase prosperity of coconut farmer through a diversified of various products with high economic value, like coconut water waste treatment. 2. Nata de Coco.
Thank you very much for that very interesting video, Alit. Now we're going to move directly on to the second training presentation, which is going to be delivered by Martin Jimmy, the director of Cara Santan. As I understand, his company is one of the leading brands within Indonesia. So without further ado, can I hand over to Martin Jimmy from Cara Santan on the marketing of Nata de Coco. Thank you.
Hi everyone, thank you Vincent. Now in Indonesia it's almost 4 p.m. so I would like to say good afternoon everyone. I'm very happy to be here in this webinar. Together I would like to share how we grow Nata de Coco business. It was hello?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So it was very interesting listening Jerry Wunkana presentation. And the thinking is how we convert that knowledge into business. So I would like to share some initiative that has been done in Indonesia. So I would like to start my presentation.
Yes, just bear with us for a couple of minutes.
Okay. So I expect everyone already see my slide.
Yes, we can see your slide. Thank you.
Okay. So today we will explain and share about what have been done in Indonesia for Nata de Coco business. So this is about Indonesia. We are the second longest coastline in the world. Yes, we have many history about coconut derivative product, but we also face some challenges. How we grow the Nata de Coco, and it is not easy. Yeah, I comparing. My background was from a consumer product, so I comparing Nata de Coco business with other kind of product, such as milk. Indonesia is a not milk drinker, so but compare with this, like yogurt business, we can see any store yogurt store in every mall, but we are rare to see the Nata de Coco product, presented in mall, presented in the open space in the mall. So that is a challenge for us. So I would like, to explain more how we cover this challenge in Indonesia. So we are Kara, we are already established almost more than 50 years. So we known as a coconut specialist, and we also provide coconut cream and doing export and local market. So as you can see in this slide, we provide I think about 6 SKU for Nata de Coco product. The simple one, the glass one, is for cold storage store. We sell it in convenience store, and then we also have the bag one, 1 kilo bag. So we try to provide all SKU to meet the customer need. And so I would like to start my presentation with 3 stories background that recently happened in Indonesia. First is I think in first quarter, early quarter, we have hooks Nata de Coco, and it's very, it was a trending since January and massively spread through YouTube and other social media. It's really killing because they say Nata de Coco is plastic. I believe this issue also happened in some countries, and it has a negative impact since January is a pipeline product to enter high seasons for Ramadan months. So this issue really annoying. We try to make some initiative, and together with the regulator, BPOM, our kind of FDA, we take counter information and do campaign that Nata de Coco is a safe product and also healthy product. And it was made from natural fiber. So we are very happy with the result. And now we can see all the social media that put the hooks already take the out of the hooks video. So it is not a good story, to start the business Nata de Coco for this year for us, because the hooks video. So the second story, as you know that since first quarter, our little enemy, COVID-19, has come with a big punch to our business, and it is really, really not easy. Ramadan months and that happened is April and May, usually become a high season months for us, but was not happened because the purchase power from our user has been declining. So since then, our expectation for the high season is not happened. So we only get sales about 60% compared with last year. It was a very sad story actually. And after that, after Ramadan month and Eid Mubarak over, we have a very huge return product from our customer, and become a big homework for us how to sell it when it is a low season months. So that's the second story. The third story is in my country, Nata de Coco has a high sales fluctuation. It's classified as a seasonal product, meaning there are a few months we get a very high volume sales, and the rest of the month will be a slow sales. Even my salesmen can, in the very low season, they can sleep because the product is hardly can be sold. So high fluctuation also impact to how we manage the supply chains and how we manage production capacity, because the output is not a flat line. Some months will be full capacity and other months will be under capacity. So it's really a big homework for our production side. And for years, this happened, regularly. We know we have to provide product to enter the high season. And we know that the trend happens and we cannot change this trend, but it is really an issue, to be managed in order to have a better business cycle like other consumer product. So that's the background of Nata de Coco business in Indonesia for this year. And those three stories, we think about it, how we manage it, because we believe that COVID will stay until next coming years. We don't know yet. So this some initiative we provide for, to challenge this situation. So since the second quarter, we call it the office program. It's really related with the sales activity. We call it office because meaning affability, visibility, and salesability. Affability is how the customer very easy to get the product. How can they get the product everywhere and not take much effort to get the product? And visibility is we do a coverage program, but at the end when I do a market visit, I see my product was not on an eye level, sometimes below the kick level, sometimes it was height somewhere, so customer don't see it. So because they don't see it, there is no purchase stimulation for the customer to buy another product. So this is a big homework after we do coverage program. So number 3 is a sales ability. After the product is available in the store and also can be seen by customer, how we make the product fly off the shelf, how the product can be sold. So we provide some program to customer. We provide merchandise. We provide also sales program to the store owner. So many activity we try to make the product is sellable. They will not return the product. They buy more the product. So sellability, we have to think creatively how to make a sales program on consumer side, not only for seller side. So I think it's combined for the store and also for the consumer side. So that's the activity of office program. I will show you some example of this. So this is a feasibility program. We provide special box, as a place for the Nata de Coco. By this, Nata de Coco product will be seen by customer and will be placed only around the shelf in every store. This is we call it a traditional market, a wet market, mom and pop market. So usually they don't have a proper spot, to place our product. So this is one of the initiative. We give them one box, and they put all the Nata de Coco product there, and it's easily to the store owner see whether when the product is empty they can reorder. So that's the objective of this box, special box for Nata de Coco. And for the modern market, supermarket, hypermarket, so we provide the end gondola program and try to, catch the customer at the end of the gondola by providing a good display product visibility. Yes, I know this is not cheap. This is not cheap when you deal with the supermarket to get this visibility. Sometimes it's not cheap, but we will do it usually at the high season time. So this is one example. We provide sales promotion girls. We provide product testing and how it tastes. So it attract customer to buy more. So this is for the modern market. So also we do it on the street activity. There is a product sampling. We open a small counter beside the traffic spot, and then we buy, and we also provide product sampling. And this is the interesting one. My previous slide mentioned about how we provide more availability. We know that Nata de Coco, it's sold in store, whether it's a modern trade or general trade. So we try to make that Nata de Coco is available around your residential area. So we make a special program, we call it MIRA. It's a Mitra Kara, it's kind of a Kara business partner. So the target is a home around the residential area to sell Nata de Coco product. It's similar story like a Yakult lady. One lady move around the residential area, but because the Nata de Coco product is a heavy product, so we do some modification and make one house we choose in certain block, and they will buy product from us, and we will support them with the promotion material, with proper profit for them to gain from this business. So after 2 months, the recruitment almost achieved 500 outlets in certain cities. So I think yes, it is a starting point, but I think it's good, when we want to make a Nata de Coco product close to the customer. And we sell it very cheap, and we don't put so many SKU. We sell it, that's one product is only is about $1 consumer price. So the customer will, the business partner will get about 30 cents for the profit. So I think this program, we're still working on it, and hopefully it can spread more. And this is the example, our recruitment for the business, Nata de Coco business partner. So we do it in Bali, this one in Bali. And this is in Nusa Tenggara, one of the, I think the longest, it's very far from Jakarta actually. So as you see from the picture, they just a house, not a fancy store, but they close to residential area. So this is our target. And the next slide is after we do coverage, we make Nata de Coco more visible, more accessible for the customer. How we can create this customer become loyal. So we take second initiative, which is an education program. It is not easy, yes. I can admit this program is not easy. We try to, to educate a user or potential user or existing user for news. We do it digitally to our Instagram or other social media. and we provide our sales force a good knowledge of Nata de Coco product and how they can explain about their benefits to health of the Nata de product. It's not only a beverage, it's a healthy product food. So the last one is very important. I believe is Nata de Coco product. We still have a huge potential to sell the product. And in my country, I think a big company is not, I think it's only less than 10 big players for Indonesia. The rest is provided by small Nata de Coco farmers. So we also train some our business partner because we also buy Nata de Coco from local farmers and train them how they make a good Nata de Coco product, hygiene and a very clean, good manufactured product as Pak Jerry explained. So we also provide them if they want to sell it, how they can become a small medium enterprise workshop, and then how they make Nata de Coco with standardized production process, and how also make a business calculation for Nata de Coco. So hopefully by this, many people ask me, are you not afraid because this initiative also open a new competitor? For me, Nata de Coco business is still small compared with the potential. So I think if we can grow together and educate the customer together, it will make the pie bigger. So that's the main objective of education program. So this is the example. We come to the school. This, I think, a senior high school student, and together with GAPNI program, we also cooperate with them. Visit one school, and then teach them about Nata de Coco product. But it is too sad that we cannot do this because the COVID. So the next slide, I think is very important. How we make sustainable business. As I mentioned before in my previous slide, the Nata de Coco business is not, it's a flat line going very, very steady. It's very fluctuated, and we want to, to make Nata de Coco business more sustainable. We have a sustainable growth each year by year. But I also thinking this will not happen if we're doing business not based like other consumer product. Other consumer product, I think they very, have a deep knowledge how to serve customer, how to educate their consumer, and they have a big budget for TV commercial. Nata de Coco product is considered is not a high price product. That's also a challenge for us to do it. But I would like to share some initiative that we have taken. So number one, I think we must treat product that Nata Coco, we treat them as a beverage, as a main ingredients or other complementary. But yes, this is the main category for the Nata de Coco. But what I'm thinking is how we make Nata de Coco also become food. We make some initiative from our follower, how they create food with Nata de Coco. So actually we want to, expand the need of Nata de Coco. And so we know that Nata de Coco is rich with fiber, but I think nobody, one player, treat this as a dietary product, because many Nata de Coco product is eaten with sugar in Indonesian market. They put syrup, they put sugar, and then it becomes not diet product anymore. So nowadays we try to, to educate our customer that we will make Nata de Coco become a diet product, and try to get a more segment about this. Of course, we cannot combine too much sugar in this category. So I think creatively we have to think how we, expand the product category for the Nata de Coco. Hopefully, for me someday, our we can put Nata de Coco. So that's my dream. That one day we can visit one country, then we can have Nata de Coco soup. So it will, one of the initiative that we are successful to expand the product category. I think this is one example of our initiative. Through our Instagram, we asked one of the, I think he's a chef, to make a special menu for the Nata de Coco product. And from this initiative, we have so many new recipes for Nata de Coco. I think we have 400 recipes from this Instagram initiative. And we will do it more activities like this, and try to make Nata de Coco not only beverage category, but also enter to other category. And finally, I dream that Nata de Coco one day become its everyday's life product. We can see everywhere. We can see in our office. We can see in our dining table. So that's make Nata de Coco grow the business size. I think that's all my presentation. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Martin, for your very interesting presentation. The comments have been flooding into the chat. So before I open the discussion, and I will present the comments that have been typed so far, I would like to congratulate both the last two presenters, Jerry Wonkana and Martin Jimmy. I would also like to say that the two presentations, in my experience, are model presentations of high quality and very informative. And what was particularly interesting was to have the science next to the sales and marketing expertise of the two speakers. I would argue that the second presentation is a very interesting case study for anyone studying how to promote and market products. So without further ado, I'm going to go to the comments that are in the chat and introduce them one by one. I just need to go to my notes, if you'll bear with me for 1 second. So the first comment, that there were many there were many comments from different delegates complimenting both speakers on their presentation. The first comment is addressed to Jerry, or maybe Alit. There was a slide talking about the incubation period of 15 to 20 days for Nata de Coco incubation. But according to Ms. Giyarata from ICARD, some small home industries in Java only need 8 days for incubation. Could I invite, first of all, perhaps Jerry to talk about that incubation period? Thank you.
Hi, thank you for your response. Miss Giarta, maybe? I don't, I'm sorry for my bad spelling. Guess the 15 and 20 days period, I took this from some journal, from scientific journal. So I think that you said that in Java, there are some Nata farmers can produce this within 8 days. but I think it depends on the condition of the fermentation, also in the which strain do they use for the nata production.
Sorry,
So
do you mean which strain of bacterium?
yeah, the strain of the bacteria.
Yeah.
Because we still don't know which strain do they use for the production. And yeah, so it varies a lot for the production.
Thank you. Maybe Ms. Giyarta, you would like to comment on that response? No comment. So I'll move on to the next comment from Sri Kumar Poduval, who was complimenting you on the presentation, and the process of Nata de Coco will be very useful for all coconut entrepreneurs in effective utilization of mature coconut water. He goes on to ask if there is a cutting machine available for cutting nata into cubes. Normally, cutting is carried out manually by a knife, although this is slightly cumbersome. Perhaps I can invite Martin Jimmy to comment. Thank you.
Vincent, can you repeat the question?
Yes, I'll repeat the question. Is there a cutting machine available for cutting nata into cubes? Normally, cutting is carried out manually by a knife, which is rather cumbersome.
Yes, if you say it's about a cutting machine, yes, in my factory, we provide a cutting machine, and we also have a spread machine, something we don't, we not just only make a box form, but also make a strap form.
What do you mean? What is a strap?
It's a shredded slices.
Ah, slices, yes, I understand. Yeah.
Because we know that a box is a typical common form of nata de coco, but some customers also want to, you know, they can eat nata de coco by straw. So
Yeah.
that's one very small pieces.
Well, maybe I could ask a question related to that. Are there small-scale cutting machines available for small and medium enterprises to buy? Maybe that's a basic and silly question, but perhaps you could. Some people may not know that, where they can get a cutting machine.
Yes, I believe that there is, because my company also work with the small farmers of nata de coco. They just have, I think, about 50 tons per month capacity, and we buy from them. We also make a standardized quality, and they have, you know, it's not very fancy cutting machine. I think it's very easy to get, and it's not a high-tech machine. I think it's easy to access about this cutting machine in every country. I believe so.
Thank you very much. Now we have just a couple of, there were various people asking about whether they can get copies of the presentations and recordings of this webinar. And as Alita said, the recording will be posted on the ICC YouTube channel, and there will be other ways in which you can access the presentations and recordings and notes. We will also be sending out a short question and answer summary. Then the next question, also from Dr. Ramani Gopalakrishnan, is for Mr. Jerry. What is the shelf life of the product?
Okay. Thank you for the question. This is a good question, I think. Shelf life. Okay. I think it depends on how you pack the product, because if you, the shelf life of the raw nata, I think it will be only a few days. But if you pack the nata into a plastic packaging and you add sugar solution, it will increase the shelf life. I think it can last until a year, maybe. Maybe Mr. Martin can explain that better than me because he's expert in this Nata de Coco packaging.
Yes, would you like to add something about how you might extend or optimize the shelf life, Mr. Martin?
Yes, most of our product is at least we have almost 18 months because Nata de Coco packed with sugar syrup, it will longer the shelf life. So I don't think it is a big issue to market Nata de Coco as long as you put sugar inside the packaging. So this is one of the natural ingredients to longer the shelf life.
Which kind of sugar are you referring to? Cane sugar or coconut sugar or what?
It's a fine sugar. It's a regular sugar. It's not coconut sugar.
Okay.
White sugar.
Yes. Okay. And are there any other processes for extending the shelf life in terms of things like pasteurization or anything like that?
Yeah, we do like Jerry presentation. We put some acid before it is cut, and do some heating, steaming the product, and then do the packaging with heat.
Okay. Well, just now I want to go on to another comment from Sri Kumar Poduval. What is the best packaging available for Nata de Coco, and what will be its keeping quality? I think, especially I would like to add something that in these days when there are more trade regulations on plastic in packaging, how are we going to address that? So those two questions to Martin. Thank you.
Yes, basically we provide the type of product, SKU we call it, based on the channel we want to enter. Like this product, this very small product, we sell it into convenience store. But this one is, I think, is about 1 kilo product. We sell it into the general trade because this is a family size. And this is, if we want to sell with 3%, we provide this, also sell in the convenience store. And this one, because in Indonesia market, they want to have, a bonus packaging. So we provide also in this packaging. Basket, yeah. So I think we provide that 6 SKU, to full the needs of our customer. Yes, previously we provide with many syrup, but at the end, we only provide one flavor.
Yes, but you didn't say very much about the quality or the type of packaging material and its length of life. Could you perhaps elaborate a bit on what packaging you might recommend, or how long it will last, or the quality of the packaging?
As far as I know, Vincent, we don't have any issue about the difference of the shelf life for each SKU. So I think we provide the same shelf life for each SKU.
Yes. Okay. Maybe if anybody else has any comments to make about packaging, who's online and listening, perhaps they could speak now. Lots of questions are flooding in, so I'm trying to copy them into my chat at the same time. So yes, let me go to there we are. I'm just going to, so any other comments on packaging while I just post in the other questions? No, right. Well, in that case, maybe how does, another question for Jimmy, Martin Jimmy, is could Cara accept raw or sheet Nata de Coco from small industries, and how can they make some kind of collaboration with your company?
Yes, Vincent, actually, we are doing that. We have a business relationship with the small farmers of Nata de Coco, but before we accept their product, we do some quality control visit and also check their facility, how they produce the Nata de Coco, the hygiene level of the production facilities, and they must meet our standard first before they become our business partner. It's not very high standard, and I think it's we just because their product also we will do some processing to meet our standardized product.
Could you provide ICC perhaps so that we can share it with all of the delegates, a fact sheet on what your standards are? Is that possible?
Yes, I will coordinate with my QC guy how they doing the quality control process before become our business partner.
Thank you. So then the next question I have this is from James Simon Chacha. Any effects on the processing treatment methods on the Nata de Coco nutrient availability? Perhaps we'll invite Jerry to comment first. Jerry, any effects of the processing treatment methods on Nata de Coco nutrient availability?
I'm a little bit confused about this question because I still don't know what kind of processing treatment method does James mean. Maybe you can
James, Simon Chacha, if you're there, could you elaborate your question? James Simon Chacha, are you there? Unmute your microphone. Yeah. Yes. Could you explain your question directly, please?
Yeah, by the processing treatment methods, I mean all the activities carried out in producing the Nata de Coco in the end. There are lots of them. So all these methods or processing that is carried out on the nata, on the raw materials to get the Nata de Coco in the end. What effects do they have on the nutrient availability? I've seen that they are very there are some nutrients available in the Nata de Coco, but they are very minute. So all these treatment or processing methods, what's the effect in the end on the nutrient availability?
Okay.
Does that clarify things? I think, for example, if you're heating things, you can destroy vitamins, etc. So, what happens to the nutrients?
So thank you for the clarification. For the processing treatment, first of all, you need to make sure that every tools and molds are hygienic, because if you use a dirty mold or tools, other bacteria can grow, so it will inhibit the production of the Nata de Coco. So as Mr. Martin said before, hygienity is really important for the Nata production. And the other things is for the nutrients, as I mentioned before in my presentation, that Nata de Coco consists only water and cellulose. So basically the heat treatment, because we only heat because the heat treatment will not affect the cellulose composition in the Nata de Coco. Yeah, and because I mentioned before, because in my presentation about the boiling the Nata de Coco. Basically, it needs to be done because we need to eliminate the bacteria before we package the Nata de Coco. Is that clear enough?
If I can answer on James' behalf, I think probably we can have a discussion about this later, but I understand that once you've produced the product, Nata de Coco, then you have a kind of label analysis of the nutrients within. Oh, could you please mute your microphone? Some child is interfering. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next question from Nasrul Tanjung. How is Nata de Coco good for health? If you're producing it from start to finish, you add sugar. How does the sugar change the situation? Thank you. That will be maybe to Martin Jimmy again.
Yes, nowadays Nata Coco is served with sugar, but we also, as we know that Nata de Coco rich with fiber. So I think that's the point that we want to educate the customer. That's why we put we plan to make a product that more low sugar for Nata de Coco. Also in the family, when they serve, we also advise to them, don't put a heavy syrup, very sweet syrup to the Nata de Coco, because you know every customer has a different level of how they need the sugar. So we emphasize of how rich the Nata de Coco with the natural fiber. That's the main point that we want to deliver to our customer.
Yes, okay, thank you very much. Now, the next one I've got here is also from James Simon Chacha. How is Nata de Coco used / eaten? Is it used with other foods or drinks? Thank you very much again, Martin Jimmy.
Yes, everyone, as my dream that I want to put Nata de Coco become is everyday's life. Is you know, when I make the challenge to make a recipe from Nata de Coco, some people say send the recipe as like a steamed cupcake with Nata de Coco. And also we already launched the product not on the cube format, it's slices. So you can drink it with a big straw. So that's one product initiative that we all must create, you know, to expand the product category.
So there's some diversification ahead, but at the moment, the Nata de Coco is used as a kind of ingredient for cooking. Is that correct, Martin Jimmy? I'm not familiar, forgive me.
Yeah, basically Nata de Coco now, you know, they treat Nata de Coco as a beverage. They eat with sugar, with straw, or sometimes with spoon. But we can see the usage of Nata de Coco also mixed with pudding, mixed with other cocktail. And I don't know whether Nata de Coco fit with alcohol. One day we can have a cocktail with Nata de Coco, alcohol cocktail. I don't know. But that's our job, you know, to expand the usage of Nata de Coco. So like from Godwin, I read the chat that he visited Jakarta, and when we enter the hotel, we get a free drink. That one, the hotel in Jakarta provide the customer Nata de Coco drink. So that's a good initiative, actually.
Yes, okay, so then the next question from what is from Godwin Kwaku Benyaga. What is the nutritional value of Nata de Coco? Maybe we can pass that one to Jerry, please.
Okay, thank you. The nutritional value, as I mentioned before, Nata de Coco can act as a fiber source. And so I'm gonna explain a little bit about the fiber source of the of Nata de Coco. So Nata de Coco consists of water and cellulose. So basically, if the cellulose coincide in our intestine, the bacteria in our gut cannot synthesize the cellulose. So it gives a bulk in our stomach. So it will send to our brain. It will send a signal to our brain that says, okay, we are already full. So it means it gives more satiety to us. So we think that we have eaten a lot of food, but in fact there is no calorie or sugar that can be synthesized from the cellulose. So that's more or less the explanation of the fiber of the Nata de Coco.
So in that case, the main nutritional value of Nata de Coco is in fact the fiber, and we can't, the gut flora can't assimilate the cellulose to exploit the calories. Is that correct?
Yep. So 0 calorie at all.
Yes. So it's a slimming food.
Yeah.
You might say. Okay, then I have a comment from Dr. Ramani Gopal Krishnan. How is the market flexible according to Mr. Martin? So, Martin, Jimmy, would you like to respond to that?
Yeah, okay, thank you, Vincent. The market is not flexible, actually. They just want to treat the Nata de Coco as is. So they just, for Indonesian market, I said, they just accept Nata de Coco become a beverage category. So like what I said, the market is not flexible. So how to make it flexible is depends on how much we want to give our effort to expand this challenge, to make Nata de Coco has a wider product category. So that's why we all who involved in this business, I think one message for me, we must expand the product category. So that's why it will be a good business for us, and also from the consumer side, know that Nata de Coco has a good fiber for us, 0 calorie if there is no sugar when it's served. I think that's the main goal for us.
Okay, Dr. Ramani Gopala Krishnan, would you like to comment on the response, if you're still online?
Yeah, Mr. Martin, yes, sir. I'm Dr. Ramani Gopalakrishnan. Mr. Martin in his presentation stated market is not stable and it is fluctuating. So that is why I asked why it is fluctuating. Is there a sustainable market we expect?
Okay, so I think, could you respond to that, please, Martin, Jimmy? How can we manage the volatility or instability of the market? Is it by developing a wider product range? Back to you.
Yes, yeah, in Indonesia, like what I said, this Nata de Coco is a seasonal product. It only sell more when it's Ramadan or Eid Mubarak events. So because this fluctuation, so we try to expand the coverage level, make this product more accessible for the customer, and they can consume Nata de Coco not only in that particularly seasonal time. So that's what one effort, to minimize the fluctuation, Dr. Ramani. Yes, we know that this is still a big homework for us to make more stable for this kind of product.
Okay, yes, that's noted. Now,
thank you very much. Thank you very much. Mr. Martin.
Thank you.
Okay.
Now I have a question from Tanzania, from Richard Musingi, who wants to know what sort of seedlings one might prepare for planting to produce the best cocoa de nata. Again, perhaps this time we can invite Jerry to answer that, or otherwise anybody else within the delegates who might know. Jerry?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
The question is, what kind of seedlings should be prepared for the planting, what kind of planting material for the best cocoa de nata production? Are there any influences according to what the planting material is?
I'm sorry, I think I cannot answer that because I'm a food technologist, so I don't know about plant science.
Okay, well maybe we can ask whether Pons Batugal is online, if he's listening in, or maybe Jalfina would like to comment.
Thank you, Vincent. I'm not a food technologist also, but I think various type of coconut, like hybrid type, dwarf type, and tall types can be processed into Nata de Coco. The water from the dwarf type and then tall varieties and then hybrids, I think can be processed. So no problem with that.
Okay, I'm going to move on to the next question in the chat. Can Mr. Martin tell us, this is from Tawake Dusivaki, can Mr. Martin tell us the concentration of the sugar syrup packed with Nata de Coco?
Okay, I would like to give some example for this. I think it's a 1 kilo pack. So already approved by our FDA. We call it BPOM. This is amount per serving is 100 kcal per 24 gram. So this is we put this here. So it's actually it's not so many sugar compared with soda drink. Yeah, like I said before, this can be.
Could you clarify those units again, please? 100 kgl, you said?
Yes.
What does that mean?
100 kilocalorie.
Oh, kilocalories, kcal, yeah.
Yes, that's the sugar content.
Yes, per 100 kilocalories per what? Per kilo?
24 gram.
Per 24 grams?
Yes.
Yeah, we've got that down. Does that answer your question, Tawake Dusivaki? Or would you like to comment?
So what I mentioned about
really
is
answers the question.
Okay, thank you. Would you like to say anything else, Mr. Martin, before we move on to the next question?
I would like to add that sugar content is different for each packaging. So how you match your consumer, how they accept some countries like sugar very much, like Indonesia. They put more sugar for soda drink. It depends how much you want to put based on your consumer insight.
Yes, the consumer preferences.
Yes.
So that needs some market research.
Yeah.
Okay. The next question is from Meldi TM Sinolungan. How can we find the bacteria which will be used in the Nata de Coco fermentation process? I'll ask maybe Jerry could take a stab at that one. Thank you.
Yeah. So basically, you can use it by your own self. I already put it some recipe to make the nata starter, but I need to add something about that, because if you make your own nata starter, it means you also make a cocktail, a mixture of bacteria in the starter. So the level of the purity will be lower. So there's also a better option, I think. You can just buy the starter via online, or if you maybe some, because for example in Indonesia there's an association for the Nata de Coco farmers. I think they can also provide a starter that has a higher purity of the Acetobacter-Psyllium. Yeah.
Okay. So what we're saying is that you can buy a bacterial culture. Is it freeze dried? Is it powder or what?
Sorry, can you repeat that? Because
if you were to buy the bacteria for your starter material, is it in powder form or how? Freeze dried or what?
I think it's mostly it's in liquid form, I think. Yeah, it's in liquid form.
Yeah, maybe I can ask also Martin, Jimmy, how do you develop your cultures for the bacterial?
Yeah, my knowledge is not, I have little knowledge about the production process, but as far as I see in my production process, we develop our own bacteria culture. But it is, when certain times achieved, it must be repeatable from the beginning, the origin of the bacteria culture.
Yes, okay. There's still many, so the next one, I think probably maybe Jimmy again. Can somebody tell Alan Aku from Papua New Guinea, what is the demand for Nata de Coco on the global markets? Maybe, I don't know whether Alit might be able to make some comment here, because you're the statistics officer for ICC. So I'll invite Alit first and then Martin afterwards.
Yeah, as far as we see the data from our member countries, especially from Sri Lanka and Philippines, the demand for the Nata de Coco is increasing. And maybe I'll share the figure to Mr. Aku. Thank you, Vincent.
Yes, and Martin, would you like to add comments?
Yeah, I believe because the COVID for this year, the consumption of Nata de Coco is lower compared last year. But I believe in the future, this product has a good growth.
Yes. Okay. How many hours? This is from Arulanand. How many hours should pasteurization be done at the start, and what temperature should be set? Can we pasteurize in open vessels, or does it need to be in closed vessels? I'll ask Jerry to respond to that, please.
Yeah, for the initial pasteurization, I think you need to boil it up to boiling point is above 100 degrees Celsius, I think. And for the time of pasteurization, you can use like 20 minutes to 30 minutes. That will be enough, I think, because it's only it needs only to eliminate some bacteria in the coconut water. And while for the boiling, for the second boiling at the end of the process, yeah, you can use the same time for the pasteurization. same time and also the same.
Repeat the pasteurization time, please. I'm taking notes.
The pasteurization time is about 20 to 30 minutes. As long as you can boil the water, that's fine.
And the other part of the question was whether the pasteurization can be done in an open vessel or a closed vessel.
Oh yeah. I think you can use both methods because it won't affect anything. But of course, if you use open vessel, I think you can reduce because the pressure will increase, and then the bacteria will can be eliminated faster. Yeah, I think that's my opinion.
Yes, in fact, I know I'm the moderator, and so I won't. I'll reserve my questions very shortly. But you mentioned the inhibiting effect of lowering oxygen levels and temperature and acidity. How do you minimize the inhibiting effect during the process?
Sorry, can you repeat that question?
You mentioned that as the oxygen decreases in the process and as the acidity reduces.
During the incubation time.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So how can you minimize those inhibitory effects?
Actually, that's the challenge for the Nata de Coco experts. There is a study that tried to use a dynamic method. So basically, they put the solution in a movable vessel, so they can input oxygen for the bacterial growth. But I know it's still in the lab, so it's still how to say that prototype, I think.
Okay. Now I've got another one from Dr. Amaya Debnath. The program, she says the program's very informative, and she has two questions. Can sugarcane molasses be used instead of crystal sugar? That's the first one. And then, can Nata de Coco be prepared from coconut milk? Maybe we'll ask Jerry first, and then Martin.
Okay, using the coconut sugar, you mean?
Yeah, sugarcane molasses. Can you use molasses from sugarcane rather than the crystallized sugar?
Okay. If I'm not mistaken, the sugar molasses has a slightly brown color. So if you put,
right. Yes.
Yeah, so if you put, it depends on the consumer
preference,
like and dislikes. So yeah, so if you put a slightly brown color in a nata product or in a liquid product, consumer tends to not buy the product. I think that's the consideration for the company like Cara.
Yes, indeed, to promote the product.
Yeah.
And can Nata de Coco be prepared from coconut milk?
Yeah, there's an effort from a researcher in Indonesia. They use coconut milk instead of ammonium sulfate to make the Nata de Coco. But as far as I understand the journal, yes, basically you can produce Nata de Coco, but the productivity is still questionable, I think. That is why there's no I couldn't find any industry that who use coconut milk for replacing ammonium sulfate.
Okay, yes. Maybe I would like to invite Dr. Amaya Debnath to comment on the responses.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, I understood what he said. Thank you very much. Thank you also.
Okay. Have you anything that you want to add?
No, nothing to it. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you. Thank you. I'm going to move. Yes, sorry, somebody wants to say something?
I'm Jelvina Vincent.
Oh, yes, John.
Can I ask Jerry to explain more about the purpose of addition of adding sugar into the Nata de Coco processing? Because the sugar, the purpose of adding sugar in Nata de Coco processing is for bacteria or go to the Nata de Coco. Please explain it, Jerry, so to make clear for everybody. Thank you.
Okay, so the sugar is converted by the bacteria to be a cellulose. That is why it more or less 0 calories. So it won't affect the sugar content of the Nata de Coco. So it's, as I said before, it's 0 calorie. So except if you add more some sugar solution in the Nata de Coco, it of course can increase your sugar consumption.
So the sugar is for the bacteria to grow.
Yes.
Not to the Nata de Coco. So
yes. So no calorie in the Nata de Coco.
Okay.
So the sugar is just a substrate to provide energy for the bacteria to flourish.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see. I'm looking at a comment from Citra Noviana. Hopefully, Cara will launch their new product soon, a low sugar dietary product. Have you any comments to make about that, Jimmy? Martin, rather?
Yes, it's one of the a new product in our pipelining to launch this low sugar coconut Nata de Coco, because if we know the benefit of eating Nata de Coco, but we want to change the habit eating Nata de Coco with sugar. Yes, it's coming soon. We have studied about this, the market potential itself.
Okay, thank you. I have a question from Andy Marendra. What is the yield of Nata de Coco from coconut water? Is it true, according to the video, from 1 liter of coconut water, we can produce 800 to 900 grams of Nata de Coco? I'll give that to Martin again.
I believe I don't have any exact numbers of the percentage of conversion from the coconut water into the finished good of Nata de Coco. I believe it's about 65 to 70%.
Okay, that's a little bit lower than they're saying then. Jerry, have you any addition to make about that conversion rate, 65 to 70%?
Yeah, about the conversion rate, it totally depends on how you weigh the nata. Because some researchers, firstly they before they weigh the nata, they dry the nata first in the oven. So yeah, that's for the research purpose. So that's not for the industry purpose. But I think most industry just after they harvest the nata, they just put it in the scale. That is why the weight is higher, around 900, because it still consists some water from the solution. That is why it's quite high.
Yes, so it depends on
varies a lot. Yeah, it depends on
fresh
how.
weight or dry weight, dry matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. I have a comment from the Venezuelan embassy to Indonesia, welcoming the realization on of the training program, and she also welcomes the joint work of ICC and NAMC SSTC. She hopes that this type of initiative will have the best success and that they can incorporate coconut producers for future training programs. Now we have, let's see, Sophia from Tanzania. How can she process to get coconut powder and oil? Maybe Martin, you can comment on that.
Vincent, can you repeat?
Yes. Sophie from Tanzania is asking how she can process to get coconut powder and oil. I think it's a more general question, so that may not be something we can answer in this training program, but Tanzania, we can engage on that in another subject. Maybe Jelfina, you're the person to ask, to comment on that question.
Yes, I'm so sorry that it's not.
It's not your, yes, it's not your field. Jelfina?
Yes, Vincent, we will provide the participants with the other materials, including the questions that are raised by our friends from Jamaica. So we will consider to provide them with some kind of information. Thank you.
Okay, there's a question from Deepti Nair, congratulating the ICC and the presenters. It's been very informative. But she asks, or he, I think it's a she, are there any quality standards for Nata de Coco? We've already talked about that a bit with Martin Jimmy. They have their own company standards, but Martin, are there any industry standards, do you know?
Basically, the main standard is no bacteria inside the packaging. I think that's all companies must achieve that goal first, and the rest is about.
Sorry, could you repeat that? No
bacteria inside the packaging.
Oh, no bacteria, yeah.
And how long the shelf life? It will be more accepted to the customer, and also the sales channel pipelining. We have to consider that. Especially like Indonesia, we have many islands. It takes longer time to deliver the product. So it depends in many variables.
Yes, I think we will get ICC to address that question in greater depth in due course. Okay, we're almost at the end of the questions now. I've got to go back to the chat in a minute.
I have a question.
Yes, carry on, please. Could you identify yourself as well, please?
I am Johar Khan
Yes.
from 10,000 coconut farmers FPO from Andhra Pradesh, India. So this Nata de Coco is a process which is cultured, and is there any program by the program organizers to extend to the farmer clusters in India, and the technology for easy preparation, as well as the marketing of the product tie up with the farmer clusters where small and marginal farmers are living in India? We are from the Andhra Pradesh, South India. Thank you.
Okay, so maybe I can invite Jelfina to comment before we ask Martin Jimmy. You know, what is the process for technology transfer to these medium and small enterprises, associations and smallholders? Would you like to say something about that? Jelfina first and then Martin.
Okay, thank you, Vincent, and thank you for the question, Mr. Johar Khan from India. So we are going to hold the international training course for coconut development officers in collaboration with the Coconut Research Institute in Sri Lanka. And this is part of this subject will be trained to the participants. And then if India needs the capacity building in this aspect, I think ICC will try to provide the training course to the Indian people. But during COVID-19, if it is possible, maybe we can deliver it through online training or online webinar or other form of transfer of technology. Yes, we will consider that, Vincent. Thank you.
Thank you. Maybe Dr. Jawal Anwar in you can also participate in such a training. It sounds as though you're representing a cluster of associations, and we could develop some kind of training together. Would you like to comment on that before I invite Martin Jimmy to comment? Maybe your microphone is muted.
Yeah, hello? Yes.
Yes, Jawal, yes.
I'd like to comment first. I think based on my experience, we help local Nata de Coco farmers. The first thing we want, how things can work is we visit them and we train them how to produce Nata de Coco based on regular standard. And then we also ask them, in some cases, we ask them to change a few of their facilities. But number two is more important, and how they can provide a hygienic environment for their production process. That's very important because many local farmers, they don't care about the hygienic environment for their production facilities. Technically, how to produce Nata de Coco is easy to get. It's not a very high-tech technology, and the bacterial culture, we can get it easily. It's not an illegal stuff. I think perhaps a local association can help you with that, Johar Khan.
Thank you. Jawal, would you like to make comments? I think I'm just going to go back to the chat now. If anybody else has a question that hasn't been answered, can you please do so now?
Sir, I had a question that is there any program extending to the farmers in India through Coconut Development Board?
Could you repeat the question, please?
Is there any program for developing this Nata de Coco in Indian farmers cultivation? Is there any program extending through Coconut Development Board of India in India? Because small farmers are depending on this, and actually this practice is not there, widely not there in Indian farmers. Thank you.
Maybe I could invite Jalfina to answer whether or not we could develop a program that would extend to the Coconut Development Board of India.
Yes, I think that's a great input for us in ICC Secretariat to address some problems happen to our member countries, including our Indian people. So yes, in addition to our regular program that I mentioned before, that we will have international training course for coconut development officers. So I think that's a great idea also to be implemented, that program in India. But during COVID-19, maybe we will include that maybe in our 2021 program. Thank you, Mr. Johar Khan, for that input.
Thank you. I'm afraid we're running out of time now. So I think it's probably best if you type your questions into the chat and they haven't been answered, we will have to address them separately in written. I think now probably we're already over time so far as I understand.
Vincent, there is a question about whether there is a readily available culture in the market. So I think
Yes, that's fairly important. There's also one about honey instead of white sugar. So
I
perhaps,
think both of the speaker can address to that.
yes. Could both speakers address those two questions, whether or not there's a culture already readily available in the market for Nata de Coco, a bacterial culture, and secondly, what about honey instead of white sugar? Over. First we'll go to Martin, and then we'll go to Jerry.
Okay, as far as my knowledge is, we never try honey to replace sugar. So that's my answer. And is the culture is ready available in the market? I believe so, because it's in my country, Indonesia, it's not so hard to get. So it is, I think each country can have, maybe the association can have some recommendation place for each country to get this culture. I think it's become a hot topic for us for this afternoon.
Thank you. And Jerry, would you like to add any comments? Culture, availability, and honey?
Yeah, about the culture availability, yeah, it depends on which country do you live. In Indonesia, I can easily buy it online through the e-commerce, but I don't know if you live in the Pacific or in remote area. My suggestion is make it your own culture using the pineapple peels. And for the second question about the sugar molasses, yeah, theoretically, of course, you can add coconut sugar instead of white sugar. But if you want to sell the product, you need to think about the consumer preference, whether the consumer want to buy the product or whether the consumer want to buy brown liquid. It needs to take it needs to be taken into consideration. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I think probably I'm going to sum up now, and we will provide you with, we'll attempt to provide you with answers to the rest of the unasked questions. I would first of all like to thank His Excellency the Ambassador Ronnie Praseito Yulian Toro for his opening remarks, and Gelfinas, and both of the speakers and everybody else behind the training today. And particularly I would like to thank the delegates for your willingness to participate and contributions. Maybe one thing I would say is that the case study provided for Nata de Coco actually applies to other sectors of the coconut industry. This is a very interesting example of how we can add value, and maybe we can apply some of this learning to other high value products. Looking at the elements which Martin highlighted, with the industry faces hoaxes not just for plastic in Nata de Coco, but in other areas, as we know. We also know that we're facing the COVID-19 impact, and it's not just an impact on the Nata de Coco sector, it's across all the food web and production systems within coconut farming. And also, how do we address market and sales fluctuations? So I think it's a good case study, Nata de Coco. I think there were some very informative guidelines in terms of quality control, how we promote the product, how we educate our customers on where we can find these different kinds of products, and how we can develop the product range and ensure that it's more sustainable and manage the different peaks and troughs of demand. So I think with that, I'll just hand it back to Gelfina for some closing comments. or perhaps Mridula. Thank you very much, Jelfina.
Miss Mridula?
Yes.
Thank you, Vincent. First of all, I would like to thank His Excellency Ambassador Roni Yuliantaro for his continuous support to organize this online training program. And I would like to thank our Executive Director, Dr. Jelfina C. Alao, whose continuous motivation and leadership could able to make this program a grand success. And our speakers, Mr. Jerry and Mr. Martin Jimmy, I think they can able to answer the queries raised by our participants. And not but the least, our beloved participants from all over the globe. Instead of the time fluctuation and everything, they had a very fruitful discussion. And I think we could able to attend all the queries raised by the participants. And if anything left over, ICC would surely like to attend those queries, and through the emails, we will respond to all those queries, and we will share the presentation and recordings to our YouTube channel, and also to individuals who would like to wanted, and we can share their mail IDs so that we can provide them with the presentation. And at last but not the least, the ICC team and our motivator, Mr. Vincent Johnson, for your continuous support. Thanks, and thanks to all for all your participation. Thank you.
Oh, hang on a moment, Joe. Richard Musingi said he hasn't heard anything about the preparation of seedlings. I think, as I said, for you, Richard, and others, we will go through the questions, and all of those that haven't been addressed in this meeting, we will send you separate responses. Unfortunately, we've run out of time, so thank you. I beg your pardon? I can't hear you. I think, as I said, we'll provide you with answers in writing because we've run out of time. So thank you very much for your participation, everybody, and we look forward to interacting with you again, individually or collectively. I think that will be the end of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Vincent. Thank you. Ambassadors and all the participants.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Well.
Thank you all.
Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.